Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another Beyond Click and Cliff. This is a podcast where I talk to you about what's going on in my life, what I'm thinking, life experiences. Hopefully, some will make you laugh, chuckle, and possibly make you smile. That's the only one of the reasons why I like doing this. Anyway, I don't know. What's something for you to listen to while you work, doing your chores, doing whatever you're doing. Just kind of, just going through your day, which is fine. That's what this is all about. So today, I kind of want to talk about. I don't know. Me and some of my friends were talking. I think yesterday about moving and stuff, but we're not talking about moving anymore because we're done moved. We're moving on. We're going to go on with this journey. Um, but I kind of want to just kind of talk to you about, you know, kind of go to a different direction. I've been really kind of watching the Ice Road Truckers. It's an old TV show. I think it was on the History Channel. It's about these people driving semi trucks on frozen lakes, which I think there's something going on in their head for them to be wanting to do that. But it kind of reminds me of the first time I ever drove a fire truck. Uh, I was 18, and of course I've been in tractors and a little bit of equipment. So so I thought I was used to it. Well, back today when I first started the fire department, they didn't have these nice looking rigs that they do now. We had a tanker truck that held 5,000 gallons of water. That's a lot of water. It was an old military truck, long. I want to say it's 30-foot truck, top speed, 35 miles an hour loaded. I mean, it was slow, hard to turn, and of course, I lived in the area we covered had these small roads, so it was fun trying to get them around, get it around. But it was intimidating, and usually they start you out driving that truck. First, they let you drive the pickup, which you used to run lights and siren down a road or whatever. Then you graduate to the rescue truck, where you can drive the rescue truck. It was like an ambulance. And then when they feel that you did good on that, they moved you up to the fire trucks and tankers, but they wanted you to do the tanker first. I think the reason being that if you can control that, you could probably control any other truck that we had. So I remember the first day I got. They go, "Here, Cliff, you're taking the tanker out today if we have a call." And that's the first day I was like, "Man, please don't have a call." Well, I didn't get what I wanted. Of course, we had a call. Of course, we did. So the bell went off. My pager starts going off. It was a 1070 structure. I don't know if you knew 10 codes. 1070 is a fire. And then they tell you it's a structure, car, or grass. But this was a structure fire. And I'm like, oh, man. Get, you have to get up. You got to get the truck going, get the air brakes pumped up. Because the air brakes lost air. You started it up, had to sit there and kind of not rev the motor, but kind of use the motor a little bit. Then it started building up air pressure. Finally, it gets to the point where the buzzer goes off, and you can go, you can drive. Boy, I tell you what, hot day. It was a hot day too. It was like, I don't know, it was like 90 degrees or something. It was hot. Of course, I tanker did not have air conditioner, and I had my full bunker gear on. It was hot. Yeah, I, all right, we can go to the fire. Put it in gear, hit the gas, and finally it started going. And my God, I'm like, dude, I can get out and run faster than this thing running. But you can remind you, it's carrying 5,000 gallons of water. Of course, the partner I had in my seat was my lieutenant at the time. Of course, he didn't tell me anything. He was that kind of a guy that kind of make you learn on your own. You learn from your mistakes and stuff like that. Of course, okay, cool. Start driving, and finally get up to speed. Then here comes a stoplight, and of course, you got to slow down and try to make the turn. And 5,000 gallons just swishing back and forth. You could feel it in the back of the truck. I made that curve, and I don't know, I slammed on my brakes. Of course, you know what the law of motion is when you slam on brakes with 5,000 gallons of water? It all swooshes up to the, and of course we had a vent hole up there where on the top of the tank, and all this water just came out and went. Oh, I had my window open, and it went right into the cab of the truck and got me soaked. I was like, oh. And he says, well, next time you're going to slow down just a little bit more, aren't you? Yeah. Luckily we never tipped that thing over, but that thing was a beast. It was, back on my fire department, we had a tanker because we didn't have hydrants out in the county. In the city we did. But out in the county, that 5,000 gallon tanker was our hydrant. So every time we had a structure fire or a grass fire, that thing rolled. We did end up getting a couple more tankers, what we call a shuttle tankers, where we carried this big old thing like a swimming pool, and we set it up by the 5,000 gallon tanker, and we'd dump water in it. That tanker was stationary. It was going. We filled the tank up, and that's all we did. We shut it off. Of course, the fire truck was pumping out that swimming pool into the hoses into the guys running the lines. We had shuttle tankers that would run. They were only like 2,000 gallons, and we had 2,000 gallon, basically swimming pool sitting there. We had 5,000. We filled it up, so we only had 3,000 gallons of water just sitting there. So what happens then? We got these shuttle tankers that will run, dump their load in the swimming pool, and run back to town, fill up, and just keep going back. We had 2 or 3 of them that would just keep running back and forth, filling up until the fire was done. And then the big tanker, what it did was sit there and just nurse it till those got back. And then when it got emptied, then we would go fill that thing up. But usually we had the fire out by that time, or pretty close to it, where that truck didn't have to be there. Now you say, well, how, if fire trucks run out of water? Well, Pumper only carried 1,000 gallons. We only had 6,000 gallons of water there at one time. And you don't realize how much gallons of water you use fighting a fire. So, I mean, we never ran out of water. We had it down to the science. We're using them shuttles. We had 2 of the 5,000 gallon tankers. Always tried to keep one in service in case we had another call. But usually, sometimes we brought it out in case we needed it. So it worked out. We never really ran out of water. The pumper never used its water up because that was the last resort. If we absolutely ran out of water on all the tankers, and the shuttle tankers weren't there yet, then they'd open up that 1,000 gallons, and they'd only last about maybe 5-10 minutes. So hopefully there was a truck getting there pretty close. But so that but okay, I kind of explained to you how that worked. But the thing is when I got in that truck, I was scared. I was intimidated by it. It was bigger than anything I ever drove in my life, and so it was a little intimidating. I finally classed that, and then we went on to the pumpers, and of course I drove everything that we had. But the fire truck was a lot easier. They're like driving a car. Shorter, they're about as wheelbase as a pickup truck. They just have a big body on it. That's basically all it is. Now the bigger cities, they got them tenders and where they have a driver in the back. Like New York, I think has it where they, the big cities, New York, Boston, maybe Pittsburgh, I don't know, but it has a driver in the back and a driver in front. The truck will turn, the guy in the back will turn his wheel and move the ladder truck or the snorkel or whatever it is to the side there. You had to be in direct communication with the driver so y'all wouldn't tear that up. But the intimidation factor, though, of this tanker was it's like driving a semi truck. Okay, it was just like, but it didn't have a trailer. It was just one big long truck. But you were bigger than a bunch of cars. You were looking down at people all the time. People pulling out in front of you, knowing that you can't stop on a dime. So if you see a big rig or a big truck coming, just know they can't stop on a dime. So if you're trying to rush the guy in front of them, consider that they're not going to be able to stop. So that's up to you. But the thing is, my memories of driving that truck was so intimidating. I was scared. I was really scared of it. I was like, oh my goodness, what did I get myself into? Is this the occupation for me? Which it was. I don't think I would ever change the direction I went in my life. I enjoyed the fire service doing that. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed the guys that I served with, went to school with, and all that stuff. I couldn't ask for a better experience. I really got into the grass fire fighting. That was the thing. You look at it. You look at it. Just follow along with me. Every fire's bad. It doesn't matter. Grass fire, timber fire, wildland fire, structure fire, car fire. I always enjoy the grass fires for one simple reason. And one simple reason at all. Even though they cause more deaths than structure firefighting, more firefighters die during a grass fire or a natural or a timber fire, like in California and Oregon and all them that have timber fires all the time, or wildland fires. Other than those situations, we never had one big grass fire like that before. We had field fires, and farmers burning trash and got out of hand. Never really touched the structure. I think we had one fire that was pretty big. So we had to call the conservation on in the Mark Twain National Forest. They had to get a dozer in there and do a fire line, which was fun. I always enjoyed putting that on my back and going in there and raking fires and all that stuff. It was fun. It was fun for me. We have a structure fire. Somebody lost a house, all their belongings. Okay, a car fire. Somebody lost their car, and cars ain't cheap. You almost buy a house for how much you buy a car, for real. Grass fires, the kind of grass fires that I was used to, other than a couple of them, the grass grows back and a lot more prettier. And nobody got hurt, thank goodness, on my watch. But the grass fire always grew back and a lot prettier. Now, I can't say the same for the wildfires out, in the California areas. They're a little more intense. And I went to one of them. Yes, I had certification. So when that happens, when they called the volunteer groups, we volunteered. We go out there and do it. I'm a big fan of Smokey the Bear. As you can tell, he's right behind me. That was that's a cardboard cutout from the 1960s. My fire chief gave that to me when I retired. He knew I liked it. So he's always with me. But people lost houses and stuff, and people lost property and grass fires that I fought. Like I said, it was an acre farm. Somebody was burning trash. It got out of hand. and we were able to get. And we lived in an area where it wasn't. We had brush trucks. We had trucks with 500-gallon tanks of water, and we sat on them, and they drove around the fire line. You know, we got in the woods, we got out with rakes and made a fire line. It was fun, easy, and stuff like that. And then it was challenging too because the wind could cause the fire to go any direction. It was pretty challenging. Structure fire is kind of confined to the house. And you can go very far from that. And I didn't like going to house fires. It's like, man, somebody just lost their stuff. I mean, they lost their belongings, pictures, memories, you know, and trying to recover from all that sucks. Hated it. Hated it with a passion. I mean, I loved the job, but I hated that part of it. Grass fires, I was all in on it. It was fun. I was more in shape back then than I was now. Trust me, I was. I could walk miles with a 5-gallon backpack on my back and all that. I was able to do all that. Part of my dryer, if you can hear that. But now I wouldn't be able to do it now. But I feel bad for people out there that has to do it. It's a rough job. People die. It's sad. It really is. But anyway, guys, I just kind of give you my experience of my experience in the fire service, driving trucks, and a little bit extra. So hope you liked a little bit extra stuff. Kind of let you in on what I did. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this with you today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it kind of made you smile. Kind of make you think about things. So next time you see maybe a fire truck, maybe move over as far right as you can so they can get by you. Something's happening and they wouldn't have them sirens on for nothing. Well, maybe they would. I don't know. But guys, be good to one another. Be somebody's light and somebody's darkest cloud. They need you. Maybe saying hi to somebody will make them feel better too. Makes them have a good day. Good day. But if you guys, I hope you guys are doing good. Be good to one another. Pay it forward. Be nice to one another. Do unto others that you want unto yourself. Compliment somebody. Make them a good day. Guys, until the next one. Ta-ta.